What's up everyone, welcome back to Just Finish Coding. This is part 1 of our brand new Atari Breakout series on Scratch 3, so let's get coding.
Just finished coding.
Here's a quick preview of what you will be able to accomplish at the end of this series. I'm going to hit the green flag, and now as you can see we have a pretty neat Atari Breakout working game, and the ball actually speeds up when we hit certain blocks, and the player has to move the paddle with the help of the mouse pointer just like the actual game. Now the bounce is slightly different, but it does resemble a normal bounce which we would expect in most real life objects. When the player actually hits all the blocks, then the player would actually win, and we have a nice "you win" message that's going to pop up just like this. And that's what you will be making right after you finish watching this series. So let's get right into our program. For this project, I'm going to be using the Scratch 3 online editor, but if you are more comfortable using the Scratch 3 offline editor or an older version of Scratch like Scratch 2, please go ahead and do so. Everything that's going to work in my program will be working in your program as well. So without further ado, let's get right into our code. The first thing you need to do is to actually draw your paddle. And to do this, I'm going to first delete the cat sprite, and then within choose a sprite, I'm going to click on this paint icon, and you should have a pretty neat costume bar open up. And don't worry if you don't see this costume bar exactly like mine. All I've done is to zoom out, and you may see something like this, but I'm going to switch back to the zoomed out view and then draw my paddle. So to draw your paddle, just make sure that your fill is set to whatever color you want. I'm just going to make it a nice dark blue, and I'm also going to be setting the outline to be transparent so that we have no outline and no black covering around our paddle. So I'm just going to make a nice little rectangle, and you could also customize this based on what you see, and I'm going to make this a bit thinner and also a bit smaller. Once you are done with that, you obviously want to centralize that, and I'm going to do that right now. So I'm going to click the center key and make it right at the center. And this is pretty important because if you don't do this correctly, it means that you're going to have some problems while actually moving the block to the particular X and Y positions that you want to. So once you have this perfect, you can get into the code of the paddle. Before I start typing in the code, I do want to rename the sprite 1 to be paddle just to make sure what we are actually dealing with. And now you want to initialize the code when the green flag is clicked. Now if we are having a thumbnail, we can incorporate that later on, and we will not have as many changes right now. So let's just have the program initialize when the green flag is clicked. So grab a when green flag is clicked from the events tab and put that as your first line of code. So when the green flag is clicked, we'd obviously want the paddle to go to, kind of the bottom of the y-axis. So I'm going to say go to y about -140. And I'm going to set x to be 0 so that the paddle is right at the center in the x-axis. So once you have that position set up, you want to grab a forever loop from the control section, and here's what you need to type in. So first you want to check, which direction the mouse pointer is actually in. So if we are pointing the mouse pointer in the right side, it means the paddle would have to move towards the right because that's how we're controlling the paddle. And similarly, if the mouse pointer is towards the left, it means we want to move the paddle to a left by a particular speed. So what you want to do first is to get the direction or the position of the mouse pointer. And to be clear, we care about the only the X position of the mouse pointer and not really the Y position. So what you can just say is point towards mouse pointer, and this is automatically going to point the block towards the mouse pointer. But keep in mind that this will also change the Y position in case we just have a change, basically change the position by the speed. But we will be fixing that with our with our x-axis and just making sure that it moves on the x-axis or not on the y-axis. So before that, I'll set a variable called speed, and it's pretty obvious what the variable is going to control. So make sure for all sprites is set, and I'm going to call this variable speed and click OK. So there we are. I'm going to set speed to be about 18, and keep in mind we can customize this as we want. So basically you can change this as you prefer a little later on in the game. So once you point towards the mouse pointer, what you want to do is to basically move, speed steps in that direction. So move speed steps, and to do that, just go to the variables tab and put in the speed variable inside. Now this would make sure we move on the y-axis as well. So to fix that, you want to grab a set y to from the motion category, and you just want to say set y to -140. Once you have these three things set up, the next thing you want to do is to set the rotation style to left to right, because in case you run this program before you do that, you'll start noticing that your paddle does some really weird things and it circles around, and that's not really a good sight. So make sure you have this in place, and that would make sure that your paddle actually moves pretty much the way we want it to. We may want to adjust the paddle speed a little bit depending on how it works for you, but as of now I think this is pretty good. The one thing that you might notice is that it goes right into our edge, and we may not want that to happen. And in case you don't, just add in an if on edge bounce, and that should fix the problem and your paddle won't go right out of the edge. So there we are, that's the movement of the paddle completely coded. The next thing to do in our Atari Breakout game is to code in the ball sprite. And to do that, you can head over to the Scratch library and grab a ball, or you can alternatively draw a nice circle of your own. Now for this, I'm going to be using the ball from the Scratch library because I think their green gradient fill is pretty nice for this project. But if you do want to draw your own circle, you can do that absolutely no problem. I'm just going to import the costume from the Scratch library, and to import that, just click on choose a sprite twice, and you should be heading into the Scratch library. You can just search in ball and you can just click that, and you should see a multitude of costumes pop up. I'm just going to keep the dark green one because I think that's going to suit best with our nice stars background which we'll have. So once you have the ball imported, obviously you might want to change the size to something a little better. So I'm going to change the size to be about 30. Oh wait, that's too small. I'm going to change it to about 50. And I think that is, no, I'll change it to 65. So I think that's a pretty nice size to work with, and that's what I'll be doing. In case I am changing that, I'll let you know when I'm doing it. Alright, so let's code in our ball. When the green flag is clicked, I'm going to make sure that the ball goes right to the center of the screen, and that is x0, y0. So when green flag is clicked, go to x0, y0 from the motion category. Now once this ball is actually gone to the center, we want to make sure that it actually moves some speed steps. So what I'm going to do is to head over to the variables tab, make a new variable, and I'm going to call this ball speed, and this is going to control the speed of the ball. It might have made more sense if we call the speed variable paddle speed, but that's okay. In case you do want to rename it, just right click and click rename, but I'm going to leave that for now. So when the ball actually goes to the center of the stage, we want it to point in a particular direction, and that is about -45. -45 or 45. Okay, that's up to you on which direction you want the ball to actually move in when the green flag is clicked. Because when you grab this, point in direction tab and you actually click on it, now you can see that you can actually customize this direction as you wish. And actually, the direction I was talking about was in 45. 45 would be right up there, I think. It's actually either 135 or -135. So you can change that depending on which direction you want the ball to actually point in. So I'm going to be setting the direction to be 135, but like I said, you can change that to -135 if you wish. So once you have the direction in place, I'm going to be setting the rotation style to all around. And if you just do a circle, that really doesn't matter. You can just set the rotation style to be, you don't have to put in this at all and it would still work fine. But because this ball has a gradient fill, I think it's going to look pretty good. So set rotation style to all around. And now you want to enter into your main forever loop. So grab a forever from the control section, and here's what you need to do inside that. I'm going to say once you have the point in direction, I'm going to say move ball speed steps, and that is going to ensure that the ball actually moves, with that particular ball speed. And I'm going to set that ball speed to be, I don't know, I'll just set it to be 25 for now. Oh no, that's going to be too fast. I'm going to set it to 10 for now. But we'll change that when time comes, and we'll also be changing the speed when we touch certain blocks. So if we touch one of the red blocks, then the speed is going to be more, just like the breakout game, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So set ball speed to 10, and here we have a move ball speed steps. Now you may want to add in a wait time lag right there, and I'm going to make that time lag 0.1 seconds or something, and I'll change that when time actually comes. So we'll move ball speed steps and then we'll wait, well, for 0.1 seconds. But what's actually going to happen when we touch the paddle? Well, in that case, what we'd want to do is to actually bounce. And Scratch, unfortunately, doesn't just have this block of code which says bounce when we touch a sprite. It does have a bounce when we touch the edge, but when we're dealing with sprites, we have to hard code that in. So what I'm going to do is to grab an if then from the control section and put that right on top of the forever loop. And what I want inside the if then is a condition checker. So I'm going to check if the ball is touching the paddle, okay? And if it is touching the paddle, then what I want to do is to point in direction or change direction to or set direction to, whatever you'd like to call it. So you can do that from by going to the motion category, I believe, and saying point in direction. And now head over to the operators tab and grab a minus. And what you want to change this to is 180 minus direction. And you can grab that direction variable from the motion tab itself. So point in direction 180 minus direction, and this is going to make sure that your ball bounces. So as you can see, actually that time lag isn't really relevant. I'm just going to throw that out and now test the program. So now the ball is much faster, and now you can see that it bounced off our paddle pretty neatly, but it still has this really weird movement on the edge, which I'll fix right now by just adding an if on edge bounce. So this is going to ensure that our ball bounces pretty neatly. And as you can see, this is almost a neat prototype of our breakout game. Just to add in a fancy animation, what I'm going to do is to head over to the paddle sprite, and within this forever loop itself, I'm going to have an if then, and if I'm touching the ball, and once again head over to the sensing tab and grab a touching and change that touching to be ball. You want to wait for a minuscule time lag, and this will actually make a bit of sense when we get into the code later on, because we want the ball to actually the paddle to actually wait for the ball to bounce before it starts to hide and show, which is the animation we're doing. If it doesn't do that, then the ball is going to act too fast, and when the paddle actually hides, it's not going to bounce and it's going to go right through. Okay, I know it doesn't make the best sense right now, but you'll understand this when time comes. So you want to add in this wait 0.1 seconds. You can actually change that to even 0.01 seconds, because this is going to make sure that this time lag is not at all noticeable to the user, but it actually impacts our code. So I'm going to do that. So wait 0.1 seconds. Then I'm going to have in a hide followed by a show, which also reminds me to add in a show right at the beginning of our program. So I'm going to wait for a small time lag between these two, and I'm going to make that 0.1 seconds. So between the show and hide, add in a wait 0.1 seconds, and this is going to make sure that your paddle has this pretty nice animation. Now I actually did this the other way. You'd want a hide followed by a show, and this is going to make sure that your paddle has a nice animation. So there we are. That's what I was talking about. So as you can see, sometimes the ball goes right through, but we'll be fixing this completely in future parts, so stay tuned for those. The next thing we want to do is to actually program a block, and the block is available in the Scratch library as well, but I'm going to be importing the block and just modifying its costume a little bit. So once again, click on the Scratch library by just double clicking on choose a sprite, and you want to search for block, and you should see this whole list of letters pop up, and what you really want is a button, okay, not block. So I apologize for that. So once you have the button, I'm going to be setting the size to be about 75, hitting enter, and I think this is a much better size for our button. I'm also going to make sure that these two variables actually hide, so that basically our entire screen is free to display blocks. So once I have this block pop up, what I want to do is to head over to the costumes, and I'm going to delete this button 3B, and I'm going to fill in this button. So to fill in, just hit this fill tool and just click that, just like that, okay? And I'm also going to fill in the border with a neat red color. So there we are. I've just done that, and I think this block looks pretty neat. So once I am done with that, I'm going to move in the block to some position. Let's just set it to this position. It really doesn't matter. We'll indent it and all that a little bit later on. But what you want to do is just have a when green flag is clicked, go to this particular position. And now we actually code in the collision. Now the collision is going to be pretty much the exact same thing. And I'm going to make sure that the block is shown at the beginning, and it actually hides when it's touching the ball. So I'm going to head over to the control section, grab a forever loop, have an if then. So if I am touching the ball, just similar to whatever we've done till now. So if we're touching the ball, then I'm just going to hide right away, and that's pretty much it. You can add in an optional time lag right there, but I don't really think it's required. So head over to the ball once again, and we'd obviously want it to bounce. I'm actually going to rename this block 1, okay? I'm going to head over to back to the ball sprite and just duplicate this if condition, and I'm going to put in this if right after that other if, and I'm just going to say if touching block 1, then point in direction, pretty much the exact same code. So now when we test this out, I'm going to just bounce the ball, and now it goes pretty neatly. Now when we're actually coming from up, it does seem like a pretty weird animation, but trust me, that is how we want it, at least for now. So that's it we'll be doing in this video. If you've enjoyed this video, please make sure you leave a like, and also don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.